Hello, it's Janda here. I just thought I would come on to share with you some tips and tricks on how to work best with the eclipse season, which we are now thrust into, both with the lunar eclipse that happened on March 25th and the upcoming solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th. It's sometimes really hard to know what to focus on during particularly intense times astrologically, and so as a psychic witch and an astrologist, I love framing my own craft around the cues and clues from the cosmos. So eclipse season is definitely seen as a time to be super receptive, not especially active around magical practices. So you want to gear your practices spiritually and ritualistically around things that are really super gentle. So the eclipse cues us to be open to what is coming up that is needed for healing release, and also to direct our actions. Because it's such an emotionally clarifying time, I advise being alert to what's coming up for you and then work with that energy versus on dedicating your rituals and spells around manifestation. So during eclipse season, tarot is my own personal golden ticket to the calm that I seek, so I'm going to show you a great tarot spread for eclipse season to do some reflection. And then I'm also going to show you a really simple candle divination and ritual for being emotionally aware, for driving peace, for driving gentleness and compassion. So, I'm going to call in whatever deities or guides I work with. I encourage you to do the same. Create a daily ritual during this next 6 months. I know it sounds like a lot, but anything that can get you out in your body, out of your head, working on breathing through some of these intense times. So first of all, before I'm going to lay my cards, I have my space that I'm working with, and I usually work with some type of a tray or a table that's portable that I move around from room to room. I have a small house, I have a family, and so I need my space to be super workable, mobile, and practical. So I'm working with some moon water that I collected during last month's full moon, and it's infused with a little purification oil, and I always like to prepare and cleanse my space. So I'm working in a clockwise motion on my table or my tray, and I'm going to take my cloth and I'm just going to wipe down to clear the energy before I lay any cards or do any work here. And I'm just sort of like, I'm really reflective as I do this, and I'm preparing the space. I'm just like centering in my heart. I'm getting grounded. I'm taking some nice deep breaths as I just get prepared. This activity helps me ground. It's a very practical, very tangible thing that you can do to start any ritual. You don't have to work with moon water. You can work with just some distilled water. Tap water is fine, or you can utilize some incense to clear the space and the tabletop that you're working with. So I'm going to shuffle up my tarot cards. I'm actually working with the Everyday Tarot today by Deborah Blake. It's definitely my favorite. One of my favorites. I work with this one a lot. I love the playfulness of the cards. It keeps my spirit, my mood bright. I would encourage that you find a deck of cards that can help you work through this time with some levity. Keep it nice and bright. And I'm going to just go through the list of questions that you're going to ask yourself, and each card is going to be a placement. Each question is a card placement, okay? So it's an actual tarot spread. And I don't work with tarot spreads a ton personally. I'm kind of a wing it sort of person with my deck. I definitely just usually lay the cards that I need. But for this particular, for eclipse season, anything we can do that's intentional and mindful is really super important. Also, to work with the fact that Mercury just entered retrograde today, I feel like being extra super intentional. So the very first question I'm going to lay has to do with space. So what parts of my life should I be prepared to reassess and shift during this eclipse cycle? That's going to be question number 1. Question number 2, and card placement number 2, lunar gift. What is emerging from within me that will challenge my sense of who I am? So I'm going to ask the lunar gift. I'm going to ask the tarot deck. What is emerging from within me that will challenge my sense of who I am? The third card placement is going to be growth. How will this help me grow over the next 6 months? And then I have the next card, which will be understanding. Why is now the right time for this particular emergence? And then the final card placement is care. How can I best support myself when things get uncomfortable? So if you're watching this now, you might want to pause and go through the questions again, jot them down, make sure you have them before you so that you don't have to keep flipping back to hear the questions and the tarot spread placements. So, all right, so let me see if my deck is ready. Feeling if my deck is ready for myself. Doing some breathing. I'm grounding right now, grounding my energy with some breath, centering my mind, clearing my mind. When I feel my cards are ready, I split the deck into 3 piles, and then I just take a moment to sit with the 3 different piles, and I just ask myself which one I'm feeling drawn to, which one looks like or feels like it holds the wisdom that I'm looking for, and I'm definitely feeling the middle one. So scoop the cards up, and I'm going to start laying some cards now. So the first question or placement is space. What parts of myself should I be prepared to reassess and shift during this eclipse cycle? This is the 8 of Cups. So the 8 of Cups for me, what parts of my life should I be prepared to reassess? This is an emotional eclipse. So I'm examining emotional things, the cups representing emotion. This is a great card to ask me to reassess my options, my values, what I'm focusing on, and yeah, my emotions and values. It's a great fit. This is definitely up my zone, up my avenue right now, what I'm looking at in my own life. So that's kind of spooky. That's a very good card for me to draw. Next placement, lunar gift. What is emerging from within me that will challenge my sense of who I am? Ooh, 5 of Pentacles. Ooh. Such a dramatic card, yet pretty powerful. So this card is in the place, what is emerging from within me that will challenge my sense of who I am. I find this to be a card that helps me really zone in on and really evaluate, deeply evaluate value systems. What's the most important thing to me and what's not the most important thing to me. And also it actually asks me to zone in on where I belong, and to examine my inner sense of belonging as well. I look at this hugely as a belonging type of card, and if that all aligns with my sense of values. So far, 2 really kind of potent, cards coming up. The next question is growth. How will this help me grow over the next 6 months? And here I have the 7 of Swords. Wow. Okay, so what ideals or ideas am I adhering myself to? And what ideals or ideas am I shedding? How is this going to help me grow over these next 6 months? Well, I'm definitely going to be setting down some things I just no longer believe about myself, the world, and to clarify. So it's a very clarifying, like, what am I doing and why? Heck yeah, I'll take that. All right, the next card. Understanding. Why is now the right time for this particular emergence? 10 of Pentacles. Ooh, hey, 10 of Pentacles is the final card in the Pentacles suit. Pentacles deals with foundations. It deals with resources. It deals with what we are building or what we've built. So this is coming up right now as a time for this particular emergence because it has to do with what I've been building. That's what's at stake. It has to do with foundations. That's what's at stake for me. So continuing to strengthen my foundations. So it's really critical that I keep an eye on the things that I'm looking at here. My ideals and my ideas, where I belong, shedding the ideals and ideas that don't work, the beliefs that don't work for me, figuring out where I belong, and also effectively dealing with harnessing and channeling emotional energy for good and not to get overwhelmed by all of that. All right, I'm digging it now. I'm curious for this final card, what's going to come up? Care. How can I best support myself when things get uncomfortable? Obviously, you're going to ask these questions for yourself too with your own deck of tarot cards. And if tarot is not your jam, that's fine. You can hang tight, and we're going to do a little candle ritual here next for gentleness and peace. How best can I best support myself when things get uncomfortable? Okay. Ace of Pentacles. So you can see now as I look down, I have 3 Pentacles cards coming up. So do you think that foundations and resources are going to be a big theme for me in the next 6 months? Like, I'm very, very clearly picking up a divinatory meaning here in this particular tarot spread that is pointing me to how foundations are going to show up for me over the next 6 months. And that's highlighted. It's going to be a focus. And that makes a lot of sense given some of the things that I've been thinking about. And so the Ace of Pentacles is a new beginnings card. And so why this is coming up for me, this particular, or actually how can I best support myself when things get uncomfortable? This is telling me to actually take some risks and not be afraid to try new things. Taking risks, trying new things, I'm on board. I'm on board. Like, I need to perhaps take a different attitude towards certain things, and or not be afraid to try something new, something like I've never done it before. So that's how I can best support myself when things get uncomfortable. All right. Awesome. Now I'm going to set the cards aside. I'm going to bring them back in a little bit, but I'm going to set them aside for right now, and I'm going to set up for the divination candle ritual. So I usually on my my little board here, I have a goddess and moon board that I like to work with, and I set that down first, and I kind of start to build everything in this space. And so what you'll want is to have a white candle. If you have a white, any color is fine, but I'm associating white with purity. I'm associating it with moon energy as well. And I've also decided to work with some calming, peaceful oils and scents with my candle divination. I have joy, but you can also work with lavender. I have a little anointing oil. I've anointed the candle. I've grounded myself and put my intentions into the candle for peace and calm. And I am dressing the candle with a little bit of lavender on the plate here. So I'm going to center that in the middle. And I'm actually going to light up a little incense to just clear the space. I love the feeling of smoke energy really kind of purifying and clearing any kind of space. Also inviting any kind of spirits to join me here, my guides, those beings that work with me that can help me with this particular ritual. So the best time to do this little candle ritual is, now actually a couple days before, or a week. This actually is a week. We have a week until the solar eclipse, but the lunar eclipse was March 25th, and so I think you can do this a couple times, this particular ritual, but whenever you need a cosmic pick-me-up, honestly. And so I'm going to actually, as I always start my rituals with a little smoke clearing, but then I also like to line my plate with some salt for grounding. And so I just form a little circle of salt around the candle on my little plate. And I get my plates at Goodwill. I'm just gonna push the lavender that I've got on my plate out into the circle, making a little space in the center. And I actually am adding some rose quartz crystals in the circle To me, I'm adding things that just really to me represent a blessing, and putting my energy and intentions into the items and objects that I'm using. Rose quartz crystal to me just really represent calming, loving, compassionate energy, and so I had some rose quartz crystal chips in my stash, and so they came out to be used. And now I'm going to light my candle and going to allow the wax to drip onto the plate, and then I'm going to stick the candle onto the plate. So you always want to take a little time to ground before you do your ritual, any kind of ritual. And so make sure that nobody's going to disrupt you. Turn your phone off. Take some deep breaths, as I did before I started my tarot reading. Let your body relax. You can even ground your energy. If you imagine the roots of a tree kind of going down through the base of your spine at your tailbone, and those tree roots are now going down to the center of the earth, that can ground you. And then that tree trunk goes up your spine, out the top of your head, connecting you to cosmos. And you can just see and feel that energy circulating through your body, the roots grounding you, that energy coming up through your head. Take some nice deep breaths. Stay here as long as you need. It's a great way to start any kind of ritual. We've cleansed our space now, and now I'm going to light the candle, and I'm going to say the following. May I follow this path with ease, knowing that the universe is guiding me. May peace hold me as I move through this time with intention and compassion. I ask the cosmos for compassion and blessings as I move through the eclipse and all the doors that it's opening for me. And so I just open myself in a receptive space, as eclipse season is really about being receptive. It's about noticing. It's about paying attention to what's happening. It's not forcing things. It's not trying to make something happen. Eclipse season is a wonderful time. It's a gift for us to be able to receive, to notice what's coming up for us emotionally, and to work with those emotions in the best way we possibly can. And so now what I usually do in my candle rituals is I just sit for a period of time in a really open position, heart open, and I just gaze at the flame for a period of time. I just allow the gaze to work on my inner vision, my inner eye. I just allow whatever messages or thoughts cross my mind, what's surfacing in my heart right now. I just sit with all this energy. Maybe I'm receiving a message or a warm hug from the guides and ancestors and deities, allies that work with me, just feeling their positive intentions towards me. It's just a meditative time. This is a time to sit and be and reflect. We're going to let the candle burn for as long as you have time. And if you don't, you can snuff it out, and you can come back and do it again throughout the week leading up to the eclipse. I think that's now is a great time to utilize this energy. And when you feel like this ritual is complete, when the candle is all burned down, you want to safely remove and dispose of and deposit the things that are on the plate. Clear all of your supplies again, either smoke clear or with moon water, and put all those things away. And so this is a really simple ritual. And what I'm going to do when I'm meditating as well is I'm going to actually lay out my cards, the cards that I drew for myself for this particular tarot spread. So this was the first one. Yeah, I'm just going to lay them out in the order that I drew them. And I'm going to just keep this up while the candles are burning, and I'm going to just gaze on the tarot cards and allow them to tell me more of the story of what I'm receiving and what I'm to focus on. And I have a little cauldron too that I usually add to my rituals. You don't have to use a cauldron. You can use any fire-safe, fire-proof container, but a cauldron is an object that symbolizes what we're putting into the universe. And I put some dried rose petals into my cauldron because I see rose petals and as a symbol of love and compassion and kindness and caring attitudes, and they just smell really, really good. So I know I'm cultivating peace right now. I'm cultivating an atmosphere of gentleness, and this is one way that you can also work with these items. Keep it really simple. If you don't have a charm candle, but you have another kind of candle at home that you can work with, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do it the way that I've done it. I would say just make sure that you ground yourself really well and focus on, rather than manifestation, you're focusing your attentions and energies around being receptive and moving into a space of openness and peace, allowing yourself to deal with any grief that might be surfacing during this time, any strong emotional energy, asking it what to do with it, asking that energy how to best work with it. So drop me a note and let me know how you enjoyed this. Take care.